What is up, you guys? Glitchiz here, and welcome back to the channel. Today I wanted to bring you a quick little news update that dropped the other day for Dauntless. It is some really important news that a lot of you, I'm sure, will be excited about. I had a bunch of positive and negative feedback on my previous Dauntless video, and I kind of tried to explain the best I could without spoiling anything that the devs did hear all of the feedback from the community, mostly the negative feedback with the launch of Awakening, and that I knew behind the scenes that a lot of things were going to be fixed, especially in the upcoming patch on the 19th. However, they did release an official post on the Dauntless official website, and for those of you that haven't seen that, I wanted to go over that and read it with you guys now, because there's some really interesting stuff in there that I think you guys are really going to like. So first thing, here you are, or we hear you. Dauntless has always been built on a passion and dedication of its incredible community. And with the Awakening update, we know many of you have felt let down. For those who feel your time, effort, and trust were overlooked, we sincerely apologize. So it looks like they are admitting to any mistakes right out of the gate, which is always good. The Awakening update introduced significant changes intended to relaunch Dauntless with a strong foundation for a new regular seasonal schedule and to secure the game's long-term viability. While our goals were ambitious, we acknowledge that the rollout caused frustration and confusion, and our communication fell short. That's on us, and we're committed to earning back your trust. To better respect your lost progressions and investment, here is the following changes that they're going to be implementing. So all returning players will receive 300,000 rams and 5,000 combat merits. This will help clear out some of the missing nodes upon the update that were missing from the Slayer's Path. You'll be able to get that maxed out ideally now, as well as just a bunch more currency. We'll also be awarding up to another 500 Peerless Aetheryte to help you regain the end game power based on your weapon crafting in the pre-Awakening game. So for those of you that were complaining about feeling like everything you had was lost and that you're restarting from scratch with your weapons, just to give you an idea, we only have about like 10 or so weapons to choose from at the moment, and you can get up to level 50 or so with your weapon with only 50 or 60 Aetheryte. So if you did all of the weapons and power surging in the previous patch, the 500 Peerless Aetheryte that we'll be getting now should be more than enough to nearly max out every single one of the weapons in the game right now. So you should be able to go right back to the end game feel that you were at previously to this update. And then moving on, in an upcoming update, we'll also unlock all game modes from the start for returning players, enabling you to jump straight into the content you want without being required to complete quest lines for it. So a lot of people were complaining that with how the new storyline was set up, you had to kind of do certain little side quests just to unlock Granny for potion smithing, unlock the different weapon crafting vendors, unlock the different escalations, whereas before we had all that stuff done already. So in that future update, all those beginning stuff, if you've already completed it and are coming back, should be available right out the gate. So that's a really good change there. While these steps won't undo all frustrations, we hope that they show our commitment to supporting the return to Ramsgate and valuing your contributions. Actions speak louder than words, and this is just the beginning. Immediate adjustments are underway to address progression, monetization, and technical issues. Looking ahead, we remain focused on building a game that respects your time, celebrates your passion, and delivers on the promise of the Awakening Foundation. Thank you for your patience, feedback, and your commitment to Dauntless. Together, we will ensure that Dauntless becomes a game you're proud to come home to again. So really good information right out the gate. Any veterans that played the hell out of the game prior to Awakening should get a ton of upgrade materials now to get right back to the end game status that we were at before. But moving on, listening to the community, this kind of shows that they heard all the feedback and negative feedback, and these are basically their responses to those complaint points. So over the past week, we've carefully reviewed your feedback across Steam reviews, forums, Discord, and social channels. Here's what we've heard and how we're going to address that. The where we're at sections outline actions already implemented or included in the upcoming 2.1.1 update schedule for the release on the 19th. The looking ahead stuff is sections focused on plans for future updates, so things that aren't going to happen in this patch but are in the works and will be coming in little bit patches later on. So keep that in mind. But the progression reset, what they heard was there was a legitimate frustration over loss of progression, particularly with Slayer's Path nodes and years of weapon investment. Compensation for prior investments, such as RAMs and other progression resources, felt insufficient. Concerns over progression speed, especially for newer players, and highlighting gaps in clarity and pacing, as well as frustrations with the flow of key progression systems, including tonic crafting and the Dauntless trials, where we are currently at. These are the things that are dropping on the 19th patch. So what is it? Tomorrow, basically. As mentioned up front, returning Slayers will receive 300,000 RAMs and 5,000 combat merits to acknowledge the time and effort invested in progression. These resources provide flexibility for reclaiming lost Slayer Path nodes or investing in other valuable upgrades. The Peerless Aetheryte will be awarded to returning Slayers based on pre-awakening weapon crafting. In addition to any Aetheryte provided during the original migration, players earn 1 point for each crafted weapon and an additional point for Power Surge weapons. Every 20 points will grant you 100 Peerless Aetheryte for a maximum of up to 500. Update 2.1.1 will remove steel marks. This is what I mentioned in my previous build video. This is huge. We'll be removing steel marks from the tier 3 weapon talent upgrade requirements, ensuring that players who prefer not to engage in the trials have already used their weekly marks elsewhere are not locked out of core gameplay mechanics and power progression. Additionally, the cost of the Artificer Lantern core in the trial store will be reduced to prevent unintentional time gating caused by weekly trials rewards. In both cases, players will receive direct refunds to account for these adjustments. So if you have already spent steel marks on those previous tier 3 upgrades, we're also going to be getting a bunch of those back. I know I did for my first 2 build videos, so that should be several hundred that I'll be getting back right at this update, which is awesome. They increased the RAM rewards across the quests, behemoth kills, and patrol chests to support better progression, and they improve progression flow for tonic crafting and the Dauntless trials. Looking ahead, these are things, again, that they plan on doing after tomorrow's patch. In update 2.2.0, planned for early next year, all game modes will be unlocked for returning players to enable direct access to desired content. We are actively analyzing player feedback and behavior data to further refine the progression systems, and future updates will aim to make progression more rewarding and accessible to all players. So right out the gate, very, very awesome changes already coming tomorrow in the very first patch that they plan on doing. That's not including any of the future updates that they have coming in the future. Moving on to monetization practices. This was another big pain point. What we heard, concerns that progression systems feel paywalled and unfriendly to free players, frustration over loot boxes, the removal of platinum rewards and non-randomized cosmetics from the hunt pass, as well as feedback that monetization changes feel out of touch with the Dauntless community. Where we're at, aka things that are going to be dropping right away with tomorrow's patch on the 19th. While we failed to originally communicate this on top of the weapon tokens provided through the hunt pass and weekly challenges, our existing but under-explained plan includes to provide variable amounts of said weapon tokens, which is what is used to unlock our weapons now, from other sources during each season. For example, in Dauntless Awakening, players will be able to earn additional tokens during the upcoming seasonal event Frostfall, and I believe, I'm not sure if it's officially announced yet, but Frostfall should be dropping with tomorrow's patch on the 19th. So that's going to be another holiday event where we're going to be able to earn a bunch of free weapon tokens to unlock some more of those weapons that we normally would have to pay for. They are going to be adding more sources via events, which they just failed to communicate, to get us those weapon tokens more quickly and allow us to upgrade and unlock weapons more quickly as well. So that's huge. Hunt Pass Prestige Core drop tables have been rebalanced to provide more guaranteed RAMs and Aetheryte, offering greater rewards for active players progressed beyond level 50. And then last but not least, effective immediately, the previously paid Aetheryte claims from the store, weekly for Peerless, daily for Shining, hourly for Dole, will be free. Note that these will likely move from the store to weekly gameplay sources from the next season onwards, alongside existing gameplay sources such as trials and heroic escalations. I know one of the big things I didn't like was people were accidentally spending money on the Aetheryte in the store, and it was very overpriced in my opinion. They listened to all the feedback, and they're basically going to be removing Aetheryte from the store completely and adding those aetheryte sources to other game modes passively within the game. So as you're playing weekly, daily, doing challenges, doing any particular game mode, we should be starting to get more aetheryte rewards more frequently, which will allow us to level up our weapons even quicker. So that's good. And then looking ahead, while we cannot make these changes for the in-progress season, the next season's Hunt Pass will reintroduce Platinum rewards, 100 on the free track and an additional 100 on the elite track, which is going to be great because you can also use that to potentially get more weapon tokens to buy more weapons. A lot of people hated that they took away Platinum, which personally I was okay with. It's a free-to-play game, so if it was the whole like getting the full amount of Platinum back on the Hunt Pass just didn't make sense for a free-to-play game in my opinion, because they got to make money somehow, and just paying a one-time amount of $10 to last you forever for every Hunt Pass just doesn't really make sense from a monetization standpoint for a smaller studio. But the fact that they're still deciding to give us like 200 back, that's still pretty nice of them to do that. But reevaluating monetization strategies to balance sustainability with fairness while remaining rewarding for players, and exploring ways to refine the Hunt Pass content in future seasons to offer better value. So we got a bunch of new changes to the Hunt Passes coming, so that was a big pain point as well, so awesome to hear there. And then last but not least, moving on to technical and gameplay issues, what we heard is Awakening launched with performance issues, including broadly lower performance, graphical glitches, and gameplay affecting bugs. This is true. Where we are at, aka fixes that are coming right away with the patch tomorrow. Since launch, we have released numerous server-side hotfixes aimed at smoothing out progression and gameplay issues, as well as addressing several crashes. In update 2.1.1, it will contain a significant number of bug fixes, including a fix for desyncing behemoth hitboxes that could not be addressed server-side. The full list of fixes can be seen here with a little link. So if you want to check out the full patch notes that are dropping on the 19th, you can go ahead and click that link there. I'll probably post a link to this post down in the description. Although the time frame before deploying update 2.1.1 limited our ability to fully evaluate all performance feedback, we've implemented a short-term solution to enhance performance on both the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. The update will also contain fixes for several client-side server crashes tied to loadouts, weapon swapping, and cosmetic systems, which we hope will make the gameplay experience much more stable. So that's awesome. Definitely some major bug fixes that are going to be helping with the performance in this case coming tomorrow as well. And then looking ahead, they continue enhancing performance across all platforms with both broad optimizations for better player-facing options, as well as targeted fixes for specific performance problem areas to deliver a smoother and more reliable gameplay experience. They are also revamping tutorials and improving the onboarding systems in key areas, aka talent crafting, to provide greater clarity and accessibility, making it easier for new slayers to dive into the game. One thing in particular that I know I personally didn't have an issue with it, but I hear a lot of people are having problems with it, is the weapon upgrade talents. One key thing that, if you don't know, that I'll just mention now is a lot of people were commenting that, for example, the upgrade to determination wasn't working on their axe, even though they unlocked it. The problem is that when you unlock a perk, that doesn't mean that it's active. You actually have to still go in once you unlock the perk, and then go into your weapon talents menu in your inventory, and then manually click on the perk after you've unlocked it to enable it, and then it will become active and you should get all the benefits from it. Just unlocking it won't actually turn it on. You won't get any benefit from it. You have to manually go into your talent menu and turn it on. So that's just one tip, and hopefully, from what I've been told, they're going to be revamping that entire weapon talent UI to be much clearer and a lot easier for people to understand, because I know it was very confusing for a lot of the new players. Loss of core features, what we heard, the removal of weapon crafting has disrupted the core gameplay loop, leaving players feeling that a vital and rewarding progression element was missing from the game. The current cell system discourages experimentation with unequipped cells being destroyed, limiting build diversity, and armor perks feel less impactful and customization options are more restrictive than before. Where we are at, aka patch from tomorrow, based on our initial balance pass in response to launch feedback, we have swapped some armor perks to better support player builds and flexibility. One example of this is replacing Predator with Cunning and Shrapnel, or sharpened rather, sorry. They're reintroducing HUD icons for perks like Pulse, which this is big. Before, we used to get a little icon where all of our buff icons are to tell us when that sixth hit critical hit bonus was applied. But right now it isn't there, and you can only go off of the visuals on your axe. A little glow, which can be really hard to see sometimes. So the fact that we're going to get a visual icon for that now is actually really nice. They're also increasing shield caps and effectiveness for perks like Strategist and Fortress, and applied targeted buffs to a number of weapons. These are going to be nice, especially for the support build that I'm updating right now. So that's pretty cool to see there. And then looking ahead, they're exploring ways to bring more depth and player agency back to weapon and armor crafting and customization systems, and reassessing the cell system as a whole to encourage experimentation and support diverse builds. So really, really good changes, especially considering that these are all coming already tomorrow in the big update. And just hearing that they're already aware of all the major pain points that we had and plan on furthering refining those things in the future patches is just really good to hear. So this is a really awesome post that they were able to do, and I'm glad that they're kind of stepping up and not just taking the blame for it, but showing ahead of time the steps that they're taking to fix all this stuff. So big ups to them on that. This is just the beginning. While the 2.1.1 update introduces many critical changes, it's only the first step. Beyond this, we're committed to continuous updates that enhance your experience and rebuild trust. Our goal is to build a Dauntless that is rewarding, inclusive, and reflective of its community. Every step we take will be guided by your input. And moving forward together, we recognize the need to rebuild trust and improve how we engage with our community. Moving forward, we are committed to refining feedback loops, placing players at the center of the game, and ensuring Dauntless reflects the passions of its community. Thank you for your patience, your feedback, and your commitment to Dauntless. Together, we'll create a game that all Slayers can be proud to call home. So really nice, sincere post with some very helpful information, just kind of proving that they did hear all of the community's complaints, and they are officially working to remedy all of those pain points, and some which are better than I even expected and that I didn't even know were coming. I have the inside scoop sometimes to hear some of the stuff that's coming, but like this 5,000 combat merits, rams, especially the Peerless Aetheryte, I had no idea they were going to do that. I also didn't know that they were going to be bringing back Platinum to the Hunt Pass. I brought that up as an example in one post, and one of the devs basically completely shot it down at one point. So I guess they went and re-talked about it, and they're not bringing it all the way back, but at least they're giving us some, so that's really cool. But yeah, really good updates here. I just wanted to share all this information with you guys, for those of you that may or may not have been on the fence about coming back, because I know there was a lot of negative feedback at launch, but just know the game is going to get much more polished and much more refined and a lot better, and hopefully closer to the Dauntless that we used to love and enjoy. So hang in there, it's going to get better. But yeah, if you enjoyed this, if you liked the information, be sure to smash that like button and comment down below. Appreciate all of your guys' feedback. Also, if you want to keep up to date with my future content, consider subscribing and turn on that notification bell. And then last but not least, if you want to join a killer community of like-minded gamers, feel free to check the links down in the description and join us on the Discord. We've got over 1,000 members in there now, many of which are playing Dauntless. So hopefully you jump in and we see you guys around here soon. But until the next one, hope everyone has a great day, and we'll see you all on the Shattered Isles.